Hey guys, this is Jeff, Scenic Landscaping, Russellville, Arkansas. We're going to talk about French drains. Well, last week we got 4 inches of rain and we had several calls about French drains. So I thought, well, maybe we need to talk about them again. So guys, let's sit down and let's go over some great ideas that we've got for French drains. So today, let's cover a few of those things and see if we can't sort out the kind of drain that you guys will need. If you follow the basics, we'll get you through it. Let's talk about French drains. So basically, what I was going to talk today about is how to clean your French drains. This is a common question that we get a lot. And something that, early on we didn't worry about too much, but as years have gone by, it has really kind of turned into a major thing that we need to deal with from time to time. So basically what we do now is we use catch basins and we space them out every so often. This is something new that we have just kind of started over the last few years. Originally, it's kind of like everything kind of evolves and you get better at it over time. And so basically what we do now is we put a catch basin at the beginning of the drain. So we used to put drains attachments straight to the gutters, and then we went into, right into the pipe. Now what we do is we actually tie straight to the gutter, and then as soon as we can, we put a catch basin to catch sediment. All the debris falls off of your house as time goes along, and that's the reason you have to replace your shingles periodically. But whenever you do that, if you ever get up into your gutters and you look around in the bottom of your gutters, there is just a ton of little gravels and junk. Well, that all eventually gets into your drain. And this is one of those things that I didn't really think about, but as time's gone along, we have decided that is a real major problem. So what we've done is we put in a catch basin and we set it up to where we could pop the top and rake all the debris out or even wash it out. And that has been a huge difference. It's amazing how much stuff just accumulates in there. Now, one other thing, if you don't have the place to put a catch basin, you can just put a T and put a solid cap on it. You don't have to let it be, it doesn't have to be open to the world if you don't need it to be. So that's kind of most times I try to put them in a spot that will actually help. So if it's a low area or somewhere that's actually a nice spot, I actually will put a catch basin so I can do both things. I can clean it out, but I can also catch water. But sometimes we just don't need that. There are several different ways that you can do a catch basin. You can buy them pre-made. You can do all that kind of stuff, which is great. But now let's talk about one that I homemade that I truly like. This is a grate that I actually made myself that I just truly love. So I can set mine up, get this in there, and I use brick around the edge. So let's see. So I got brick around the edge, and then there's my pipe in the bottom. So right there. So that's how I built mine. And so my gutter actually hits right here, hits this concrete swell, and then it goes into the gutter and that. So that's a homemade version that I just truly love. So basically what you want to do is after you dig your ditch, you've got to set your ditch at 1/4 inch per foot. That's the minimum you can do for a French drain to make sure that it'll work. Then basically what I do is I put a 1-inch block on the end of my level, I tape it up, and then that will, whenever you're laying your pipe, if you keep your bubble exactly level and slide that down through there, it'll give you the same slope as a transit. It's a nice, easy way of doing it, and it's a lot simpler to keep your grade. What I have found through the years is if you don't have that on there and you try to eyeball it, it's tough. I mean, you just kind of bounce back and forth. But if you have that already preset, and then make sure your bubble's exactly in the lines, then you're good. You don't have any problems and it'll drain. The thing about this, it's not rocket science on this. It's all pretty straightforward, but it's just as long as everything's draining, you're good to go. Want to do use a level for your French drain, and you want to make sure that you're running it with a 1/4 inch slope per foot. A 1-inch block taped to the end of your level will give you the same effect. So by running this, you tape this on there, then That will ensure that you're running exactly level on the level, but you're using a 1/4 inch per fall. So you put this on the downhill side, and that will make sure that you keep running, that everything is running properly, and it gives you a good slope. So that is a nice, cheap, easy way of doing something without having to use transit. I tell you, filter fabric is just about as important as a sock on your foot. If you don't have it, you're gonna get blisters. If you don't have it on your French drain, you're gonna have debris in there and it's gonna be full before you know it. Especially around here in Russellville, Arkansas. We have got a real sandy loam. We live right on the river. And so we have a lot of sand and a lot of real loamy dirt. If we do not put filter fabrics in or around our pipes, in our projects, in 6 months, a year, those things will be completely packed in. This is what filter fabric is. So let me show you what that is. Let me get down here where you can see it. That's filter fabric, or cheesecloth is what we call it, but it's super light, but that's what stops the sediment from getting into your pipe. Now I buy it by the big rolls. I'm sure they make it smaller rolls, or you can buy a pre-made sock, but that's the way I roll it. I buy the 5,000 foot roll, and that way I've got plenty around the shop to do what I need to do. Now they make it also, you can use a weed fabric. You can do that also to help, like if you're lining a wall around for your drain, you can do that, and that works really well also. Anytime that you want to do a French drain, you have got to make sure you've got a filter fabric on it. A, you use your own filter fabric. B, you buy it with a sock. But I don't ever find a pipe in the ground without a sock. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, come on. Oh, whoa. All right, come on. All right, this is a sewer and drain hold drainage pipe, and that comes in 10-foot sections, pretty slick. Now this is a perfect example of a sock. So let me show you right here. So this is a sock that goes over the top of your corrugated pipe. So that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like with a sock. That is without a sock. Sock, no sock. Where are you going to take your water is as important as any part of this project. So you've got to, whenever you're setting up and doing any type of work, you need to understand your elevations. So coming back from wherever you're going to discharge it, make sure you've got enough fall. So now you can go through a curb, and that's pretty common if you're dumping it onto a street. All right, what do you do if you have an area that your house or the area that you want to drain is the lowest point of the area? What do? Do you just have to deal with the water? Why don't we put a pump? So basically what we do, this is just like if you're under a crawl space of your house. Let's say that you have a water issue in your basement and you need to be able to figure out some way to get that water. Well, a sump pump is the answer, but this will also work for your yard. So basically what you want to do is you want to set your sump pump to wherever the lowest point of the project is. You need electricity or solar power, some way to get power to pump. Now, you don't have to have a real big pump. Now, bigger the pump, bigger the pipe for a discharge you have to have. So just kind of remember that. If you have a, horsepower motor down there, or a half horse, you may have to run an 1.5 to 2-inch piece of pipe to make sure that it'll discharge enough to go. And so on the side of the pipe, it'll tell you distance versus pipe. And there's a math for that, but always kind of keep it to where you don't want to put a 1/2-inch pipe on that and then have it burn your pump up. So just always oversize it a little bit just to make sure that you've got good flow to get it out of there. And so basically by doing this, your pump will be in the bottom of this and you put a float. Just kind of imagine your toilet on your house. Whenever that water stops, that's a float that stops the water. Same thing with a pump. Whenever the water gets high enough, it floats up and it starts the pump and it kicks off. And then whenever the arm comes down low enough, then it turns off. So it's all automatic. And that works really, really well. And it's just a nice, easy way. And then you can pump, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you need to raise it 10 feet, well, you can just pump it out of there and go on down the road. And so sometimes in some places, that is an easier fix. All right, guys, I sure appreciate it. let's go out and let's hit the water. Let's go take some kids out to the water for the weekend. You guys have a great week. I'll see y'all next week. Thanks for watching.